Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's me, I'm back here again, and I'm here with another video review. Now, many of you may remember back a while ago, whenever I did my Jurassic Park 3 review, and I did the aftermath following that, and in both of those videos, I mentioned a Jurassic Park game that was being developed by Telltale, which is the company behind the Sam and Max games, also behind the Back to the Future game as well. So in that video, I said that Telltale was working on a Jurassic Park game that would take place immediately after the events of the movie, and many of you have been wondering if I would review that game or not, and so here it is, right in my hands, Jurassic Park, the game. And I beat this game a couple days ago, but before I get into that, I just want to say something that I find kind of strange, is that one thing I find kind of weird is that if you buy this game on the 360, then you get the entire long 4-part series. But if you get it on the PS3, by the way, this is only available for retail on the 360. They don't have the entire series for real retail disc on PS3. And if you get it on PS3, you're going to have to download it from PlayStation Network, and you're going to have to wait monthly for the episodes to come. Why? I just have to ask, why? What's the point? Why would people who have a 360 get to have the entire series, while people who only have a PS3 have to wait for 4 months to go by? What's the purpose behind that? Is Universal or Telltale, is somebody there showing a little bit of favoritism towards Microsoft and the Xbox 360 or something? That's just really weird to me. I just don't get that. Why release the whole series on the 360 when the people who only have a PS3 would have to wait 4 months? And what if you're like me, you have both a 360 and a PS3? It's like, well, how stupid would that be if I just decided, no, I won't buy the 360 version. I'll just download it on my PS3 and I'll wait 4 months. It's like, no. Instinctively, I would go out and I would buy this version because it has the entire series on it. What's the mindset behind this? What kind of marketing strategy is that? Yeah, but I reckon I should probably start talking about the game. If you've played any other Telltale games, such as Back to the Future or any of the Sam and Max games, then this game plays very similarly. The way that you play the game is that there'll be a cutscene. A scenario in a game will start out with a cutscene with a whole bunch of QuickTime events, which means that a button prompt is going to appear on the screen, and whatever button it tells you to press, you got to press it in order for your character to survive. But the real core of the gameplay is when you get into a scenario like at the very beginning. The game begins on the very night which the movie climaxes. It's like the climax of the original Jurassic Park movie, you know, the part where the T-Rex escapes the fence, you know, it terrorizes Grant, Lex, Timmy, Malcolm, Gennaro, all those guys. And on top of that, it's the night where Nedry shuts down all power in the park and the dinosaurs are all running wild. You know, it's that exact night, and the plot of the game is basically about InGen. InGen sends this woman to retrieve the Barbasol can, the shaving cream can that contains all the dinosaur embryos from Nedry. And of course, if any of you saw the movie, you would know that Nedry never survived. You know, a Dilophosaurus jumps in his Jeep and it just eats him alive, pretty much. And when you're playing as this woman, Nema, that's her name. When you're playing as Nema, and one of the opening segments is like Nema and this one guy who's like an InGen liaison, I guess you could call him. You're sort of investigating the scene because you arrive at Nedry's Jeep and you're trying to find out where the can is. And there are all these little bitty scenarios where you can sort of, where you don't actually control your character moving to an area, but if you hold down the left trigger, this little these 3 or 4 picture boxes come up, and you have to move the stick to one of the picture boxes to make the character move to a different part of the area to investigate further. And when you move to that different area, there are all these button prompts for the character to, look and investigate. And if you exhaust every single possibility from every single screen, that's sort of when the game's that's when the game sort of progresses. Now, it doesn't always involve exhausting every possibility, because you gotta sort of figure out how some things work. Like, say for example, the aforementioned scenario where you're at Nedry's Jeep and you're trying to figure out like what he was doing or how he was killed. For example, if you actually arrive at the little bush that Nedry went to tie the metal rope around the tree, then what you need to do there is that whole area is dark, but what you need to do is that you need to climb back to the top of the creek, and you need to turn the headlights of the Jeep on to illuminate that area so you can go back and investigate it. The whole game is basically comprised of little environmental puzzles like that. That's basically the core of what the gameplay is all about. But other than little bitty segments like that, this game is basically just one big long cutscene. It's one really big long cutscene that you can interact in. That's really the core gameplay of Jurassic Park. Whenever I saw trailers for this game, like back early this year, whenever I was looking at gameplay trailers, cinematic trailers, the one thing that everybody, and I mean everybody, complained about was the graphics. It's like, I just see comments on all the trailers like, oh, this game's graphics look horrible. They look like PS2 graphics. This game's gonna suck. Out of all the things to complain about, it's always the graphics. Again, why? That's what I absolutely hate and detest about this generation of gamers, because they are always bitching about the graphics. Let me tell you something. Graphics are not that important. Why does every single game that comes out, why does it have to have nice, shiny, pretty graphics? I think the graphics in this game are just fine. I mean, granted, the frame rate can be, pretty damn choppy at times, and there can be some really horrible slowdown every now and then. But I mean, other than that, the graphics are just fine. I mean, the character models look all right. The environments look perfectly like they did in the movie. The dinosaurs all look beautiful. The dinosaurs are all very perfectly rendered. So yeah, as far as graphics and presentation goes, the graphics are good for what they are. Now, I think I should probably delve into what I was really looking forward to the most about this game. It was the story. As mentioned before, the story of Jurassic Park, the game, is that it begins the exact night where the movie climaxes, where the T-Rex escapes, where Nedry gets killed, where basically all the power in the park basically just completely goes out. Um, and the woman that I was talking about earlier, Nema, her InGen liaison is murdered. She finds the Barbasol can, and her liaison is murdered by a by a whole group of Dilophosaurs. But then the Dilophosaurs are chased off by a seemingly new breed of dinosaurs. Now these dinosaurs are nocturnal predators that are actually poisonous. And one of these things bites Nema, and she ends up falling off of a cliff right in front of a jeep containing our other two main characters, Dr. Jerry Harding and his daughter, Jessica. Now, Dr. Harding was actually a character that was in the movie, but he was a much, much lesser known character. If any of you go back and watch the original Jurassic Park movie, you go back and watch the part with where they're tending to the sick Triceratops, and that one guy that was with Dr. Sadler, that one guy who had like the mustache and the sunglasses and stuff, that was Dr. Harding. That guy is the main character in this game. And when I say that this game begins the night where the movie climaxes, I'm saying like a very, very short amount of this game actually takes place on that night, because it's like the first part of the first episode takes place on that night, but the whole rest of the episode takes place completely after the movie ends. As in, like, when Dr. Harding and his daughter, whenever they wake up inside of this basement when they were hiding from a T-Rex and a Triceratops fighting, you actually see the helicopter where all the main characters from the movie flew away in. But yeah, anyways, the story in this game, I must say, is incredibly well written. If there's one thing that that Telltale really tried to do with the story, is that they really tried to attach you to the characters. And for the most part, the characters are all very fleshed out. The characters are all very relatable. They're all very real. But I remember reading in the Game Informer magazine that they tried their hardest to make the characters very real and very relatable, to make you really care about them. And again, that works for the most part. But there are a couple of moments where the characters can sort of come off as being annoying. That's really one of the few gripes I have with the story. And also, another major gripe I have with the story is that towards the middle, it starts to get kind of slow and boring. It starts to really drag on. The pacing starts to get really slow when you're spending a lot of time indoors. There's not really a whole lot. There aren't really that many grand set piece moments that are happening. But the pace does pick up exponentially towards the end of the game. By the end of the game, you're exhilarated because of all the intense action that's going on. Another thing I really love about the story is that it really adds a lot of backstory and a lot of different viewpoints on the story of the movie and even the book. Because one thing that this game actually takes from the book is that it actually takes the little plot from the book By the way that the book ended was that the military, the Costa Rican government, the Costa Rican military actually bomb Isla Nublar. They actually bomb the island and they kill all the dinosaurs. And that's not how this game ends, but that's that's uh, that's one thing that they actually try to do in the game is that they try to bomb the island and kill all the dinosaurs. And also another really cool thing is that there's actually a cure that you try to administer for the lysine contingency, which for all of you hardcore Jurassic Park fans out there, if you remember the scene in the movie where they talk about the lysine contingency with Dr. Arnold, Sam Jackson's character, I just really love the attention to detail of how much stuff from the movie is referenced. It really feels like the Telltale guys, they watched the movie really closely and they reference all these little bitty things from the movie that you may not have like realized. They even kept the famous spare no expense thing that John Hammond, really likes to say. But it also includes some really cool backstory. Like, for example, it turns out that they didn't necessarily have to give the dinosaurs the DNA of different animals, but it actually turns out they had enough DNA to make these dinosaurs genuine and authentic the exact way they were in the fossil records. But InGen was way too impatient, and they wanted to get the park started because if they did that, it would have taken a whole lot more time. And so the Asian guy, the Asian doctor from the movie, Dr. Wu, he was the guy who suggested that they use frog DNA to help to complete the DNA strands. It's little pieces of backstory like that make this game cool, in my opinion. And also, it offers another little bit of backstory on the island itself, and sort of the contrast and the perspectives between the main character, Nima, and her native life on the island. I won't spoil the whole story, but I just have to say, if there's one reason why you should get this game, it's for the story. If you liked the movie, then the story in this game will satisfy you. It answers many questions that were from the movie. What else? There's pretty much the overall length of the game is that I think the game will take like maybe 10, 12 hours to beat. This is actually much shorter than the Back to the Future game, which that kind of disappoints me a little bit because the Back to the Future game was like 5 or 6 episodes long, but this game's only 4 episodes long, and that kind of disappointed me a little bit. But yeah, overall, I have to say, this is the true sequel to the first movie. This is the best sequel to the first movie that we will ever get. The Lost World, I still like it a whole lot, but this game is just way better. This is way better than any of the other 2 Jurassic Park movies, especially 3. That movie just doesn't even fucking exist to me. This game just beats the crap out of Jurassic Park 3. This game just murders Jurassic Park 3. Like the way that the T-Rex should have murdered the Spinosaurus in that god-awful, horrible piece of shit. But yeah, for all the people who want Jurassic Park 4 to happen, this is as good as you're gonna get. At least for now. But what else is there? Well, I've gone over like the characters, the storyline, the gameplay, the graphics. What else is there? Oh yeah, the overall. I mean, the overall experience. While this game does have some slow moments, the uh, the overall backstory and the characters and the tension are all very much worthy of being of a Jurassic Park story. It's very much reminiscent of the first movie, and it's very much reminiscent of even the original Michael Crichton book. So yeah, if you're willing to if you're willing to sort of sit through the slower parts of this game, if you're willing to accept the way that this game plays, the sort of point and click adventure sort of detective work type of gameplay style, then I think you're gonna enjoy this game. Uh, it's like I said, it's definitely the true sequel to the original movie. So that's all I have to say regarding Jurassic Park the game. If I had to if I had to give this game a rating of a 1 out of 10, I'd probably give it like an 8.5, somewhere close to a 9, because this is definitely a good game. It's not amazing by any means, but it's definitely pretty good. Uh, like I said, it's the best it's the perfect continuation of the first movie. That's for sure. So yeah, for all of my viewers out there, these are my thoughts on Jurassic Park the game. Hope you all enjoyed my review. Have a nice day.